Okay, there we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fresno City Toastmasters. I am the club treasurer here, and we have a bunch of our board members. We have Sarah, who is our sergeant at arms, I think at this point, right? Sergeant at arms still?
Or
Kinda.
I've been helping out with membership too.
A membership, that's right, and the questions, a little bit of everything. And then Heather is our social media guru. Yeah. And then Farron is our immediate past president. Mike Ellis is on the call too. Mike's a lifer, if you consider that, over the last couple of years. He just came back. So we are back in session here after our Easter break, and we always like to look at the agenda. There's a little mission statement on the bottom left corner. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And I always like to underline the supportive and positive learning experience for those that have the fears of the public speakings. So with that, we usually have a few ground rules. We don't have any live peeps on the call today. So most of our virtual rules are, instead of clapping, we're doing our jazz hands for whenever we're changing the podium over to the next person when it comes to Zoom. And any other ones off the top of your head? That's kind of the big one, I guess. We don't have too many new people here, but those might be watching on YouTube, getting a feel for our meeting. And it's going to be a little bit. Go ahead.
Oh, muting yourself if you're not speaking.
If you're not speaking, yep. Thank you, Sarah. Yep, muting yourself if you're not speaking. With that, so Chanel, our fearless leader, is supposed to be our Toastmaster today, but she is having some technical, I guess we're having some internet issues around the city here. So I will start that. We have our theme is breaking barriers. We always like to have a theme for our meetings, and breaking barriers, I think that's a great theme right now, especially following Easter. And as we move into the summer, we were just talking to Sarah about a lot of the barriers she's trying to break over there at Evangel Home. And she's got like 6 projects that she's trying to wear all those hats at once. And I know Farron's always got some many battles, many irons in the fire. And of course, Heather as well. And I know Mike's got many irons in the fire. So breaking the barriers, it's really, I think I've learned this year, taking on a little bit more than I would normally. I took on 2 teams instead of 1, coaching 2 teams. So I'm part-time on both. One's little league, one's high school varsity. And then along with all my internet marketing stuff as well. So I think the biggest barrier breaker is to just stop, take a nap, maybe one thing, take a few deep breaths and to try and slow the pace down when it feels a little bit overwhelming, but to sit back and enjoy the moment that it is now, and not be so anxiety about the future, or maybe decisions we didn't make very well in the past, and to move on past those, not look in the rearview mirror, but kind of sit in the driver's seat and see where we're all at. So I think that's the best barrier breaker, is to just live in the here and now. With that, we'll move on to, as our general evaluator. That's a question here. So that's me. So I'm going to pass it to myself as the general evaluator. And the one thing with those watching on YouTube with Toastmasters is we always say Toastmasters wears many hats. Sometimes we have meetings that run super smooth. Everybody's there, fills their role, no speed bumps. And then there are meetings where it's fly by the seat of your pants, it's shoot from the hip. And this will be probably one of those meetings. So with our general eval, my duty is to introduce our team who will be evaluating our speeches and table topics and things like that, and our timers and all that. So let's see if we'll have to fill some spots. But the first one on the list is Chanel Grammarian. Do one of you ladies or gents want to, probably not Mike, he's in the talk about parking lot, I guess, but to grab a word of the day, and we can do that maybe at the end. Sarah, you want to do that? Okay, so grab that real quick. We'll hold off on doing that one. Denny, I'll counter. We have somebody that wants to pick up the I'll counter role in the meantime. Barron, or I don't know if Mike's got access to writing material in his car.
I can do I'll counter. I can also do timer. I'm going to upload the backgrounds to this Zoom account.
Okay. Do you want to talk on both of those, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll do
Want to do those two?
it. Got it.
I don't want
All right.
Farron to be my all counter.
She's the chief of police of All Counter.
She's so
Yes,
good
I'll
at it. It's
counter.
not fair.
Odd counter is one of my favorite tasks here at Toastmasters. We often use crutch words like and so, but things like that. We draw out our pauses when we could just take a pause and take a breath. I will keep track of all of our crutch words that we use today and give you a report at the end of the meeting. I will also be your timer for the day. I am now downloading the background, so my background will go green when you have hit your minimum amount of time for your speech. I'll move to a yellow background once you're about 30 seconds or a minute into that, and then it'll be a red background behind me when you have completed your amount of time and need to wrap up your speech. That's it.
Cool. Thank you, Farron. Toastmasters wears many hats. And it looks like Sarah is all done with the grammarian word of the day. So Sarah, you want to introduce that?
I do. It seems like it fits well with the breaking barriers, because when you have a lot of adversity, then you have to break some barriers in order to get it. So our word of the day is adversity, and it means it is a state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. Adversity. So the sentence here is: the movie is about a group of determined mountain climbers who triumph in the face of adversity. There's our word for the day, and back to you, Joey.
Love it. Thank you, Sarah. And perfect for being able to tie that in with our theme, adversity. And adversity is probably one of my favorite words, because if you're not growing, you're dying. That's what Tony Robbins says. And that is the essence, I think, of adversity. Looks like we got our president on board finally. She's sideways. I don't know if she's got her. She muted. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah, you're just sideways now.
Okay, I'm on my phone.
That's okay. That's okay. While you're doing that, we're getting ready into our speech. And then Zoom. So Farron's gonna be doing Zoom, which she is, I don't know where she went, but she is gonna be the one that will be doing the different zooming in to whoever's speaking and recording our meeting so we can get it up on YouTube for those that are watching this. Let's see, recording this computer. I hope we're still recording. All right. So our first speech of today, I think is Heather. Yep. Is Heather Davis. And she is giving a 5 to 7 minute speech. We did talk about her speech earlier, and it is her 6th speech. So she's in the 2nd level in pathways. And I think she said it's her 2nd speech or 3rd speech in that. So she is giving a very impromptu. She says she didn't have a lot of time to prepare for it, but that is also a really cool thing about Toastmasters is even if you don't have the time to prepare sometimes, that's going to be an obstacle of adversity that you're going to face in the workforce where your boss, or if you're the boss, you might have to give a speech in 15 minutes on such and such topic on XYZ. So you want to be able to collect your thoughts, put some sort of a coherent message together, and be able to deliver it in some sort of a coherent way. So giving her 6th speech, Heather Davis, take it away.
Thank you, Joey and friends. Mentors. What are they? Oftentimes you hear that word mentor, mentorship, and you have to ask yourself, what is that and how can I get one of those? Well, being 28 years old, now almost 30, I've had several opportunities to meet different people in all walks of life that have provided different ways in terms of mentoring me at different phases of my life. And when preparing for this speech, I realized that I haven't had just one person that has helped me through different things, different hurdles, different bridges, and with their expertise and experience and their insight, they've been able to help me along the way. And so I just wanted to share with you an idea that I recently heard about how it's important to have 3 different mentors in your life. Now, it's more along lines of 3 different categories. And the 3 different categories of mentors that I will be talking about today are peer mentors, career mentors, and life mentors. Peer mentors. Peer mentors are people that are going to be in a similar situation with where you are at life, close in age, you're trying to go for the same career path, you're figuring it all out. Oftentimes, these career mentors are people that you meet in college and are able to develop a rapport with. These people are the people that you can vent to and totally understand and can relate and know exactly what you're going through. It's so important to be able to talk to these peer mentors because it reminds you that you're not alone. Especially in today's world, we feel very isolated with this pandemic and that we're not really together. So it's important to have someone that, close with age, close with similar ideas and mentality that you can help grow each other and lift each other up. This is great both professionally and personally. You want those people that will be honest with you, not necessarily going to be honest cruelly, because honesty without tact is cruelty, I believe. So this is where that mentorship is very important. The next step is, or next mentor that I hope that you have in your life at some point would be a career mentor. This could be someone in your related field that has some sort of seniority, some position of power, experience, someone that's walked in the road that you have, and you're hopefully going to go, whether it's the same exact direction or the similar field, or just someone that professionally can help mentor you in a way that you wouldn't receive with a peer, someone that doesn't understand, hasn't gone through it. These career mentors are people that have gone through it. They know, they understand. And it can be many different people. Right now, for me, my career mentor would be my supervisor, Sven. He is the director of volunteer services, and he's helped me truly understand my role in this company. And monthly, we get together and talk about how it is that I can improve both personally and professionally within this agency and this world. He knows well of what my personal professional goals are and how one day I hope to be a published author. And so with that knowledge, he's been so helpful and generous and kind and helping me along the way professionally to reach those goals. He's put things in my path that could be seen as a challenge or a roadblock, but I see as a challenge. He helps me just grow and really think outside of the box. And like I said, this could be many different people from different, whether it's the exact place you work at, or you have worked before, or you hope to work one day. These are the people that you hope to be one day. And these people should be trusted advisors. You do want to pick wisely, because sadly, there are people that will want to lead you in another way for selfish reasons. So just when you do decide for a mentor, make sure that they have your, that they have what, their heart is in the right place, that they want the best for you, which can be hard sometimes. And so you may go through a few different mentors until you find the right fit. And that's okay too. You want to feel like you are growing. And if you're not growing and you're not feeling that, then that's okay to find another mentor. The last mentor you want in your life is a life mentor. And it's essentially what it is. This person, you can benefit from the wisdom of others. This person can be, whether it's familial, a longtime friend, just someone that inspires you. You want to be like this person one day as well. So find someone in your life that you look up to. And if there is someone in your life that's not quite in your life that you look up to, that's where you want to find ways to have them be your mentor, whether that's starting off as a career and then going into life. A lot of these times, these mentorships can kind of overlap. So it's okay if they're not just in one lane. It gets a little messy real quick. So just know that this life mentor is also someone that can help balance, round out the peer and the career, and just make it all pretty and wrap it in a bow. Again, life isn't pretty, but this is where you can hopefully shine personally and be able to just develop personally as well as professionally, because all aspects of life are interconnected and one thing affects the other. And so I implore you, if you have the time, to just really sit down, think of those people that have been in your life, who you want to be in your life for future mentors as well. Ask yourself if you can be a mentor. Oftentimes you don't think of yourself as a mentor until you really sit back and think, okay, yeah, that person I took under my wing and helped them along that way. So just know that there's a lot of different ways that you can be mentored, you can be a mentee. Don't let adversity stop you from pursuing both personal and professional goals. And I hope that you find someone that you can talk to and have someone to genuinely listen and just be that mentor that I believe everyone needs in their life. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Very good speech. Not so bad, do I say myself, for, like you said, an impromptu. You're setting us up, I think. You knew it was going to be better than it was, and you just played it down. Good work.
Yeah.
And then Farron, we saw that. I saw a little sliver. I don't know what was going on with the background. We saw a little sliver of that color, so that's why I turned my background, whatever yours was.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I was trying to hide myself off screen so that I could eat. So I like moved it.
Oh, I
moved
see.
it,
I
and
got
it,
you.
like the background just it didn't work out.
All right. I
My
got you.
bad.
I got you. All right. And so Mike, Mr. Mike, let me bring up the gallery here. Are you good to go, Mr. Mike, for yours? And I'll introduce you. There he is.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
All right. So Mike, are
Excited.
you pretty much doing your icebreaker again? Or are you doing something else?
No, I'm gonna do my icebreaker again.
Okay, cool.
The,
All right. Let me introduce you. Okay. You ready?
Go for it.
All right. Mr. Mike
Yeah.
Ellis. He has been with our club for quite a while, few years, took about I think a year off or so. And Mike always has a lot of cool stuff to say, cool stories. He's lived a life for sure. And he is trying to find an internet connection. So yes, he is in his car in a parking lot, figuring it out on the battlefield, trying to find that Wi-Fi connection so he can give his speech today. So Mike is giving his icebreaker, which is a 4 to 6 minute speech. And it is one of our favorite speeches here at Toastmasters, because we get to learn a lot about a new member, although Mike's not a new member, but to some of you, he is new. And for those of you watching YouTube, he is new to you. He is a stranger. So with that, I want to introduce Mr. Mike Ellis giving his icebreaker speech. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Joey, for the introduction, and thank you for Taco Bell for their Wi-Fi singer. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for having me, and it's very nice to finally be able to speak with you. My name, as Joey said, is Michael Ellis, and I'd like to share a little bit with you about my past, a little sliver of my past, I should say. I have been in EMT and EMTP for the last 20 years here in Fresno County and Orange County. I was on the DMAT team, which is the Disaster Medical Assistant Team, circa 96 through 98. I've also had the privilege to help teach didactic to wilderness medicine, park medic students for several years in the early 2000s. And I've been in several medical clinics throughout Mexico. And it's always been a privilege to serve in someone else's emergency. And I seem to be at home in that environment. So it's always been an honor to be in service. That being said, my emergency that I would like to share with you, I was flat out horrible. I was scared, I was over trusting, and mostly I was driven by fear. But that's a little bit who I was. And today, currently, I am a parent volunteer at Community Medical Center's Pediatric Neurology Department with Dr. Foster. There, I listen to parents of neurodiverse children, and I really help the parents just make better versions of their parents, of their children. And I also help young adults make better versions of themselves through resources and education. And this year, I have the privilege of being a council member on the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, Sequoia Region 8. And this is some of the reasons why I'm here. My biggest job by far is being a husband and being the father of twins, Parker and Miriam. And I would like to share a little bit about them as well today. Miriam, my daughter, she in the twin world, she was baby B. And so if you don't know what that means, she was the second one born. And so she's, until this very day, she is the one that sleeps in the most as well. But she's a strong and carefree child. She enjoys making jokes and making people laugh. And her diagnosing was a really bit of a surprise to me, the most actually. I remember reading the book. The author was Barry Prezant, a PhD, and the book was called Uniquely Human. It's a great read, but he was talking with parents that have twins, and he was giving them the diagnosing and the next couple steps forward. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm really glad I'm not that father, because I couldn't imagine both of my kids, going through this. And a couple weeks later, I was that father. So, but to this very day, she's gone to more therapy than I care to share with you as far as hours and money. But I am very grateful to let you all know she is no longer needing speech, private or in school. And she has an IEP for special education, but she is doing quite well to this very day. Last summer, she did a study with Fresno State on humor, and there she was taught jokes on how to kind of the structure of a joke and how to deliver a joke. And she keeps a joke book to this very day. And she is in love with all my dads, which is a wonderful thing. For these little and small, beautiful reasons, for her smile is definitely her resilient shield. I'm here to try to share some of these wonderful stories that I have about Mary. For my son, Parker, he's obviously baby A. He was always ready to come out, and that's only because I think he really needed to be cuddled more. We kind of, when he was a kid, we used to call him the puppy dog because he was very content on being cuddled, kissed, and fed, and that's all he needed to be happy. He has a great smile and a wonderful laugh to this very day. But his diagnosis was of autism with intellectual disability, was a big suppository to swallow, so to speak, in the game of life for myself. But we, my wife and I have been through so much with Parker, and I think it is an exciting adventure for me to be able to share his voice with the world, because he's like all 9-year-old boys, he's very exciting to be around. And so as you can imagine, my journey as a parent requires me to learn more about this world than I ever imagined, and more details about this world than I really ever imagined. As you can imagine, I've made some very silly mistakes time and time again. But the one thing I'm mostly grateful about this adventure as well is the community in which I now belong and the people that I find in there. And I'm also very proud to be serving them as well in my speaking career and also as a councilman. So I look forward to sharing my journey with everyone at Toastmasters, but not just you here, but with my community at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thanks for sharing that, man. And you know, God only puts on you what you can only handle. And I couldn't think of a better dad to be a dad to those kids.
Oh, thank you. I'm very fortunate, like I said, and yeah, God's a good dude. I
Yeah.
enjoy him.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't come without its challenges. That's not the deal. That's not part of the deal. But I couldn't imagine a better dad dude than you, sir. So hats off.
No,
But
well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and I do really look forward to having your guys. And I value your knowledge, so thanks for helping me out.
you got it, bud. You got it. Great speech. All right. So I know we have our evaluators too. So what we could do is, since I think it was Kalani was supposed to be our table topics person, she's not obviously here. So I could do our 365 table topics Google random number generator. We could do a couple of those and then lead into our evaluations. Do you want to do that, or you want to just go into the evaluations?
Do you mind if we just go into evaluations today? I got to go at 1.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Thank
do it.
you.
All right. So with that, then, as now putting my general evaluator hat on, I'm going to pass the baton over to Miss Sarah Dawson, who's going to give the evaluation of Heather's speech. Go for it.
Yay, Heather. It was, I kind of wish you hadn't said that you hadn't prepared, because it was very well done. And I appreciated that your structure was dead on point. I mean, it was, like at the very beginning, it was very clear what you were going to be talking about. You broke it down, you reviewed it. At the very end, you were able to repeat it and just give a closing statement and how much you wish everybody could have these. Love the structure. It seemed like you really enjoyed the topic even, and you had this energy about you while you're giving it, and it seemed exciting. Unless you were just faking it. I don't know. I don't think you were, but you did really seem to have a good time with it, and yeah, just enjoy it, I guess are the right words for that. You had specifically asked about watching for crutch words, and so I was trying to see the times when you were, and I know Farron will give you more of that later on what exactly they were. So I was trying to pay more attention if I noticed a pattern in and when you were using the crutch words, and it is when you kind of caught off, like, okay, moving to the next, like the transition times, and okay, now where do I go? And then it was like and I think that's pretty normal for many of us, but that's just the times. And it seemed like at that point you were kind of out of breath too, and so maybe just even like taking your breath and letting it out slow to calm the nerves in your head and that kind of thing, I think would be helpful in being able to decrease it, your crutch words. So let's see the other things I had on here. I love that you had great examples all throughout the thing. On each section, you gave some just general examples, but then you also gave very personal examples, which added much to it because we get to know you a little bit better and makes us see where it is. On the camera, it was pretty good placement, but there was a little bit of the book stand or something off to the side. And so if you just moved it over just a little bit more, and then a little bit up. So if you could have stood a little bit closer to the camera, we could have seen your facial structures. And the one thing, absolutely get rid of the pad of paper in your hand, because your hand gestures were fine if they didn't have the pad of paper in your hand. But like with that, it kind of went like this big swooping, like right in the middle. Yeah, right. And so that was distracting, but I think your hand gestures would have been just fine and augmented it really, really well. But overall, I didn't really know that you hadn't practiced or even prepared, because you did a great job, great flow, moved along really nicely, and just finished spot on. So great job and good work, Heather.
Thank you, Sarah. Great advice. Great advice. Very good. Good actionable stuff that Heather can take. Very good. And before we get to the next evaluation, which it was anybody else, I was going to do it. We had Denny down. Was somebody else taking notes? Or
I did take notes.
Did you take notes for Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we could do a group
Tag team,
one
yeah.
possibly form
Mhm.
tag team? Let's do that. But before we get there, for those watching on YouTube, table topics. I know we skipped it today, but table topics is a part of the agenda that we do. I think is one of the most fun, I guess, next to maybe the speeches, where it's impromptu speaking. What I was going to do today was I took a list of 365 questions. We would have a random number generator, or whoever was going to do their 1 to 2 minute table topic could have picked a number between 1 and 365. And then I read whatever question that number represented. And in that way, that is more of a, I don't know what I'm going to have to say. I'm going to be asked a question. I'm going to have to speak on it. So that's one way to do table topics. The other way to do it would be to where I can ask 3 questions beforehand, before anybody speaks, and you can choose one of those 3 questions to answer. So that gives you a little bit more forethought in trying to put something together that you can talk on for a 1 to 2 minute speech. So just for those watching on YouTube, I wanted to make sure that just because we skipped over it, it's not that it's not important. It is very important in our thing, but I wanted to, I think, get to our evaluations there. So Sarah, go ahead and start us off on Mike Ellis's eval.
Okay. I really liked how you tied in your medical history and the all your background of EMTs and being able to do all of this before you even mentioned your kids' medical history, and how that, I'm sure that's been beneficial to you, and being able, so I thought that tied it in very, very nicely, where you had all of this, you had all these experiences, and now this is how you're using it for what you said was the most important job of your life. So I absolutely love that. Thought that was great, being able to tie that all together and see that. I don't know if I just missed it or not, but I know you talked about neurodiverse children, but I don't know if you said specifically what it was or if you intentionally left that out. I think you had mentioned autism later in it, but so I think that piece was a little bit confusing for me. So maybe Joe, you can talk with that. Maybe you heard something different than I did, but yeah, I would have loved to have it very specific, because a lot of people may not know what neurodiverse means or that. So it being able to explain that to those who don't know anything would be awesome to hear. And I know it's probably, your examples I thought were really great about how you described your children, and like one just needed to be cuddled, kissed, and fed, and then what the other one had needed, and all of the different adversity and challenges that they had gone through to overcome, and how they're doing. Little picky thing, you said to this very day many, many times. And so if you can find another way to say to this very day, I don't have anything off the top of my head, so I'm sure that was challenging to you, but instead of saying to this very day, or and now they're doing something like that. So being able to change that. I love hearing your stories, and you have this subtle little humor that goes under it. It's really fun to hear. I know being in the car was probably challenging. I don't know if there was another way you could have positioned the phone so we could have seen your eye contact and just see your expressions light up. That would have been great. So I'll pass it over to Joey, and maybe he has some more to add.
Good, Sarah.
There we go.
There he
Yeah.
is. There's his face. Yeah, I got a little bit. Sarah said a lot of that, a lot of what I was thinking as I was watching your speech, Mike. And, the big thing that we always talk about here at Toastmasters is to talk about what you have a passion for. And that speech, clearly the subject matter of that speech, you clearly have a passion for. You are 100% all in, immersed in being the father figure of 2 autistic kids, and I think that is check off on the checklist there on the passion of it. And the other thing is, if you can, and it's hard for some people, especially that are in the midst of something like that, to be vulnerable. And I think passion and vulnerability in a speech make the speech the best. And I think those 2 things, if you can work those 2 in, and if you can do it without crying, I've given a few in the past, and it's hard. That is a hard thing to do. But if you can pull it off, that makes for a really good speech, because anytime you can get into the emotional part of people's brains in your audience, they remember that speech, and it is meaningful, and whatever take home that you want the audience to get, they got it. So if anything, I'd just say, just praise on that speech for talking on what you're passionate about and being vulnerable and being able to pull that off. So good, Mike.
Thank you. It
Aaron,
is very
Chanel?
difficult
Go ahead, Mike.
balance between, I'm sorry to just to reiterate what you're saying. It is a difficult balance between being passionate and, over passionate, showing too much emotion. And some of those things, for the most part, I'm a very private guy, and just for me to share my acclimates are kind of not uncomfortable, but a big deal. But I do look forward. I do feel the speech was could have been a little more personable, and I could have shared a little more stories. But I just kind of found a hard balance of sharing myself and being vulnerable, like on the icebreaker speech.
Yeah.
I'll make you cry, Joey. Don't worry.
Oh, you almost did, dude. Farron, Chanel. When you two ladies want to jump in
Oh, I
there?
didn't know we were all chiming in. I thought it was just tag team between you and
Well, if you
Sarah.
got,
so-
no, if you guys, if you, everybody.
I don't think I can add anything that hasn't already been said. So
Okay.
yeah, I really enjoyed the speech and you talking on something that you are passionate about, your own kids. I've given speeches like that as well, and it's tough sometimes. You did a great job.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed it also. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for putting in so much effort and running around to try to find a Wi-Fi connection so that the speech could be possible. Dedication.
Totally.
Yeah, it's one of the best, Mike.
I'm very grateful to Taco Bell this afternoon.
You
Never
will be
thought
a
I would-
story. You will be a story that we'll tell in the future to future Toastmasters in a good way, not a bad way.
Oh yeah, I gotta adapt and overcome. It's all part of the
Adversity.
journey. Everyone's journey.
Exactly. Yeah, good job, Mike. All right, with that, let's do our evals. I think we got 6 minutes to close this thing out. So as a general evaluator, let's call up. Let's leave our grammarian for last. Farron, you want to give our timer and counter report? I think you're giving both, right?
Yes.
Go for it.
So due to the adversity of trying to do a bajillion things at once, I did not count the ahs and ums for Heather's speech. I was so focused on being the timer and getting everything situated, I just didn't do it. So I'm glad, Sarah, that you were able to monitor that as her evaluator. Mike, as for your ahs and ums, I have 60 uhs, 27 ums, 2 ansos, and 3 you-knows. Every time you take a pause, you say and I think that's it's just like built into your speech and your speech pattern, I mean. So try to just take a breath. I think that's my best advice, is take a breath instead of saying it leads into every sentence almost. I just did one. Sarah, I caught 5 so's, 7 ums, and 2 let's sees. That's not really a crutch word, but it's how you lead into something else when you're thinking about, oh, let's see what comes next. I know that I do that too, but I just thought I would throw that in there. Joey, I only caught 2 you-knows.
Oh.
And as for time, we did really well. Heather, her speech was supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes. She came in at 6:54. Mike, since it is an icebreaker, it's supposed to be 4 to 6, and you came in at 6:40, so a little over, but it would have been perfect had it been a 5 to 7 minute speech. As far as evaluations go, Sarah, the first one was perfect at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Then you spoke for 2 minutes and 10 seconds for the second evaluation, and Joey, you spoke for 1:26. So combined, you were 3:36, which is just a little over a general evaluation, but you did tag team it, so it's cool. We'll give you some leeway there. And that's all I have.
Cool. Thanks, Farron. Thanks for those 2
Thank you,
reports.
Farron.
Yeah. And then grammarian, word of the day, adversity. So that was what, Sarah?
I heard Joey at least 5 times, maybe more, on the adversity word of the day. Heather used it in her speech. Farron used it just now. And Mike, I know you were talking all around it. I don't know if you actually said it or not. So
He was dancing all around it.
he totally was. So he may or may not, but I'm not sure. Mike, do you remember if you said it?
Absolutely not. I meant to say it at the end, and my brain was like, so I was.
It was a perfect speech for that. It was a perfect speech for adversity
totally was.
speech.
And that's it. Back to you, Joey.
Very cool. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks everybody for putting this together today on more of a skeletal crew, and some of us being a little bit later than normal and getting set up, and some of us having to find some Wi-Fi and finding it finally in a Taco Bell parking lot to give the speech. And he will go down and with an infamous versus infamous, right? Infamous story. So thanks, Mike, for doing that. Oh, we got a little doggy right there. Cute. So I think overall meeting went well for what we had, and we were scrappy in this one. This was more of a scrappy meeting, and I think we did a great job with who we have and who we had on the call today. So with that, I will hand it back to our Presidente, Chanel West.
Thank you. Sometimes when it rains, it pours, and I feel like it has just been raining a lot this morning. Everything has not been going well. I think we only have like 2 minutes left, so I'll be really quick. I wanted to, and I'll put this in the email also, but we got an email this week from our area director, Ryan Pryal, that apparently Pathways is going to be unavailable to choose a new path from April, what did it say? April 20th until May 9th. So for about a 10-day period. So just if anybody was planning on starting a new path, get in before then so that you can use it.
April what? Chanel, what was the start of that?
April 20th to May 9th. So tomorrow.
Okay.
Starting
So
tomorrow.
okay. I forgot to mention too that Ray is official. He's an official member. I got him signed in last night. I sent him the email to be able to log into Pathways, but I'll email him when we get off, and I'll let him know that, because he's not gonna be able to get a path. I'll just tell him he needs to get.
Yes, I'm not sure why that is. I'm assuming it must be for website updates of some sort. Yeah, yes, for maintenance. So if he doesn't do it before tomorrow, he'll have to wait until May 10th.
Okay, so it'll be about 2-3 weeks. Okay, well, I'll shoot him an email, and if he gets in, he gets in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. At least we can give him. We know for the most part, we don't know what path he's going to go into, but we know the icebreaker. We know what the next speech is going to be. And then we know that at least the first 3 speeches, so we can feasibly get him in anyway.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds good. And then the second thing that I wanted to check on is we had been planning to have a Toastmasters kind of team dinner next Friday, April 29th. I was going to suggest that we just extend that to everybody who is a current club member if they want to come. I'm not sure how many people will, but I think there's only 11 or 12 of us anyway. So that, and then secondly, at least for those of us who are still on the call right now, does the 29th still work for everybody?
It should. I'm not sure if we have a high school game, but I'll check on that. Usually it's either at 3 or 3:30 or it's at 6:30 at night. So if it's at 6:30, it wouldn't, but I can make it if it was like a 3:30 game. Usually we're done by 5:30 or 6. So even if I got to be late, I can do that, but I'll check on that for you.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know today or tomorrow. And then if not, maybe we can find a new date, and then I can let everybody know what the date is.
Yeah. And it might, if we're going to include everybody else, that might be a little short notice. We all knew about it, but some of the other members might not have. So giving it a week lead time, maybe we want to push it back another week, maybe give it 2-week lead time. Just my idea. We don't have to, but.
Okay. Okay. We can text about that. All right. And then if you guys are going to be here next week, we have Monica and Emerson are both down to give speeches. So I can do evaluation for one of them. And
Put me down for table topics if you want.
okay.
And Zoom.
Sure.
I
I can
am
be the
still able
grammarian.
to log in to Pathways. So I don't know if it's worth it to give my next speech that would take care of a level 4.
Yeah.
And then the club can get a point if you want me to do that. I can
You,
do that
you
next
said
week.
you still can. You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still in. So,
Let's do it.
okay.
And then Mike
So you
said,
can put me down to speak next week just in case someone else drops or, or we can have 3 speeches.
okay.
Okay.
And then Mike said he'll be grammarian for next week.
Right. Okay. And Sarah, are you going to be able to make it?
I have a meeting that starts at 11, and so I'm thinking I will probably be there. But I'm not real sure because I don't know how long the meeting will last. So,
Okay.
so
We'll
I'll just fill in if I'm able to come, I'll just fill in for wherever.
Sounds good.
Janelle, did you get bangs? Did you already have them?
I did. I think it's been about a month now.
Oh,
Yes.
they look great.
I came here and got my hair chopped off.
Love it.
Summer haircut.
Yeah, well, bangs isn't a very good summer haircut, I guess.
Chopping this part.
I kind of did it out on a limb.
Yeah. Mike
They
and I
look
don't
good
have
on
to
you.
worry about that.
All right, cool. That's all that I have. So thank you guys for taking over today. I'm gonna go talk to Mike Wu right now and try to figure out what's going on with the Wi-Fi over here.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gents, have a good week.
Bye.